If you're a fan of Parks and Rec like I am, you probably think that libraries are bad. And that might be true if you're a red-blooded libertarian in charge of a parks department, but it's certainly not the case if you're a young, ambitious software engineer keen on making a fresh new app. Let us imagine that I am an ambitious software engineer. I want to write a new social media application. I've got a great idea for one where people have profiles for their dogs. It's like Facebook, but for dogs. Great, that's new and original. Let's see what we will have to write to implement this app. Well, first and foremost, we'll have to write some software that allows users to create an account. This will involve a registration form so the user can fill out information about their dog, some password hashing and encryption software because we need to be careful in how we handle the user's password. We'll need some database software to keep a register of known users. We'll need a good online display as well. I want all of our images and text to look good when displayed on users' browsers. Additionally, I probably need some sort of logging software that will alert me to invalid logins, unforeseen errors that occurred during user interaction, or times when the app crashes and the social media site is offline. These things will help me identify issues with my site, and ultimately improve user interaction and security. I'll also probably need to write some software that handles the image file uploads. Our servers will need to know how to handle and store the images coming from the user's device. Unfortunately, this sounds like a lot more than I had originally thought. Additionally, some of these things could ruin me if I wrote them poorly. For example, if I write software that mishandles users' passwords, then people's accounts will be broken into constantly. If I miswrite the user account database, there might be issues with logins or lost accounts. Even more severely, if I miswrite the image upload functionality, someone could use that to hack our entire social media platform. This is why software developers use libraries. And in this video, I use that word, but you should know that library and dependency are essentially the same in this context. Libraries are chunks of code that handle certain functionality that is commonly used in programs and applications. We import them into our own code, which is essentially taking the software that is the library and pasting it into our own project. For example, the ability to upload files to an app is a pretty common thing that a lot of apps have, so there are libraries for that. Encryption is pretty commonly needed for passwords and other sensitive information that the app might store, and it would be very bad if a developer tried to write it themselves and messed it up. So there are libraries for this too. Basically, if there is some functionality that I want my app to have, and it is pretty common across software, I'll use a library to save myself the headache. In fact, libraries are so frequently used that there are programs that help us manage them. These are called dependency managers, and two common ones are Maven and Gradle, but there are others. Since libraries are files containing the code we don't want to write, we must retrieve them from the people who did write them. And also, we must make sure that our application knows they're present and can use the borrowed code correctly. Dependency managers help with this. Oftentimes, these libraries are available to use in your software for free. So you may be wondering why some engineers go through the trouble of writing the code that nobody else wants to bother to write just to give it away for free. There might be several reasons why, but let's go through a couple. First of all, some do it for the love of the science. Researchers and grad students may do it as part of a project. Others may just write it in their spare time as something to add to their resume. Which brings me to a second reason. There are other ways to benefit from something you've created than just selling it for money. You can imagine it probably pays off to be the guy who wrote a library that's used by hundreds of applications. That person or team could get paid in consulting fees, helping to integrate the library into the company's software. They could get paid in talks, teaching others what the development process was like and some of the hurdles that they overcame during the process. In this way, it may be helpful to have your library available to use for free. The no-cost, low barrier to use may encourage your library's adoption industry-wide, helping to make you the go-to subject matter expert. Lastly, there may be some paid tiers to your library. It is possible that most of the uses are free, but some of the advanced functionality requires a license. As such, most people will use your work for free, but some will decide to upgrade to a paid tier, and you may benefit that way. As a final thing on this topic, I want to tie this into what I do as a product security engineer. Due to the fact that a lot of programs end up using the same software for stuff like logging, encryption, file upload, and networking, hackers know that they can impact a lot of companies and applications if they can find a problem with a library. Because libraries are shared software, the impact of the vulnerability is much more broad. For example, a critical vulnerability in a widely used logging library known as Log4j had significant impact on the security of software written by giants such as Amazon, Apple, Dell, GitHub, HP, IBM, Intel, Microsoft, Minecraft, Netflix, Siemens, and many, many more. All of these companies were impacted by just a single vulnerability found in one library, all because they use the same logging software. Now we see why software engineers and programmers use third-party libraries in their project. Each has a different functionality, but allows larger software projects to be developed by reducing the amount of rewritten code and allowing software engineers to focus on application features rather than all the boring stuff that the app also has to include. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.